back live Monday morning, 10 a.m. Romania and
Oh.
Finland. How are you, Simo?
I can't remember the last time when I woke up to my alarm. So I had my watch alarm went off, and I can't remember the last time. That it's probably been 2 years or something. But the kids slept in, which was incredible. We kind of opened our barbecue season yesterday, so we all
Ooh,
stayed up a bit later, and we got a trampoline for the kids, which I finally caved in, and so it was just a hectic day. Now I'm
but I'm
still
sure
kind
they're
of
having fun.
they're having a lot of fun for sure. Yeah, yeah. I'm just kind of yeah. Not only are trampolines like super ugly, like they mess up the whole backyard feng shui that we've had going on. They're also really dangerous. Like there are so many little things that can rip you up. Um, oh, there's the delivery guy. Come in, come in. What are we getting today?
Oh, shoes for my son.
Oh, great.
Yeah, he guilt tripped us that we bought another pair of shoes, but the baby and his shoes are like obsolete in 2 months.
Yeah.
So he said, "Why does he have two pairs of shoes and I don't?" And I was like, "Well, I was just about to buy you another pair of shoes." So I had to buy him a pair of shoes. So now he's happy, which is why the delivery guy decided to interrupt. But it's fine. See, this is real life. This is a
But
real life podcast.
like the equilibrium between what kids want is so difficult. Like it's if a baby gets another like a pacifier, then the older one wants one too. It's ridiculous. Like
Yeah, and
when
it's
does
hard
that
to keep
stop?
up. I don't know.
Yeah.
And between minds is such an age gap. Like the old one is turning 12 in
Yeah.
June, and the baby is just 2 years and a half.
Yeah.
Like
So a toddler, yeah.
yeah, like you guys have totally different interests in life, but there I was buying shoes again.
But why
Um,
doesn't it work? Why doesn't it work for like okay, so the younger kid just cleaned up after themselves. Why doesn't the older kid want to do that as well?
oh, they
It's
don't.
only for the toys and it's only for the stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Something's messed up.
Very materialistic children.
Yes, that's good. The Western way.
Yeah, I see in Romania the Western mindset is coming too, and I don't like it because when I was a child, I was happy for a banana or an ice cream. It's
Oh
like,
yeah.
thank you. Yeah, and like now everyone has like these needs, and like I was the other day in a call at work, and my son was calling me. He was at school, so I said to my colleagues, like, I need to pick this up because my son never calls me from school. So I pick up, and he was like, listen, I really need a $20 voucher for Steam. I was like, what? It's like, I need to buy a game. And I was like, I cannot buy you the game. He was like, listen, please, please. And I was like, I think I'm going to hang up right now. So I
Wow.
hung up the phone. So yeah, like that's the type of needs that they have. And he just wanted this expansion. He's playing all these games like Stray and Dying Light. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, he's into this anime horror type of.
Really
And
gloomy. Yeah.
yeah, and also the music that he listens to as well. Like he reminds me of myself when I was
Oh,
listening
but
to
that's just good.
the most depressing shit I was listening
Yeah.
to back
But
in the
that's just good. I
days.
mean, that just means that he's found a way to kind of for escapism, and he's found a way to kind of channel his whatever moods. I mean, it's better to put them out into creative stuff than to
Yeah, yeah,
something else.
yeah, yeah. But it's cool. It's cool. Uh, it's a new day. It's a new start of the week. Tomorrow I have to leave to measure camp. Not to measure camp. I don't even know where I'm going anymore. To Web Analytics Wednesday. I'm gonna remember when Julius was in the podcast. He
Oh
lost the
yes,
bet, and he
yes.
found the worst city to meet me for the first time. After that bet. So I'm gonna go get my beers and
Yeah, it's not a cheap city for beer.
yeah.
Um, so last week I was at Amsterdam at the Emers Conversion Analytics Conference. We had Ton Wessling there as well. We had Charles Farina. We had lots of great speakers, and Anne Marie Klassen was there as well. Lots of old friends from the industry, and we had a great time. Hung out with Charles, grumbled about GA4 a bit, walked around Amsterdam. So, but the cool thing is, so my son is now really into the Pokemon trading card game, which is it's really good. Like the game is good and it's fun to collect those things, and it does amazing things for a 5-year-old because his brain has to kind of understand, like, okay, so this Pokemon type works with this type, and this has all these moves. And he doesn't understand English that well, but he's learning through the cards. So he
Oh,
doesn't read English. He reads Finnish fine, but he doesn't read English at all. But now he knows the cards out by heart. So he knows like 180 cards, and he knows exactly what reads on them. And so it's just amazing to see his brain work. So cut to Amsterdam. I promised my son I'll bring him a couple of booster packs. So for those who don't know, booster packs are those, cost like $5, $6, $7, something like that, and they have 10 cards, and you don't know what they are. And you,
oh,
of course, hope for like really good ones and really powerful ones, and some things that fit in your deck or what you're collecting and so on. So I got him 3 of those, and then when we come home, he opens them, and we look at like there are these couple really cool cards that we've been looking for. So really like powerful power cards. But so for those who are interested, there was the Mewtwo V Star upgrade card, and then a Simisear V Star card as well. But the thing is, those were like really shiny, and they had these amazing colors. So the old capitalist in me, I went to the web and checked out how valuable they are. And it turns out the Mewtwo card was like its quote unquote street value was over €100.
whoa.
And we found a local game store in Helsinki that trades Pokemon cards, and they gave my son like €70 total for the 2, which he could then use in store as in-store credit. So of course he got a bunch of new boosters with it. But
That's so
wow, like the
cool.
first boosters I've ever bought, and we got this like ultra rare super value, because of course there's a million Pokemon cards,
Yeah,
and it's and the kind of the normal distribution is that most of them are €1, €2, €5 tops. So we got this super rare one, and now we're of course completely hooked into the financial side of things as well. I'm like thinking, is this my pension plan? Like I'm going to start buying boosters. But it was
that's
really
so
fun.
cool.
But it was also funny to see my son, because he was genuinely torn between taking the money
Or
and
keeping them.
buying new stuff versus actually having a really good card in his deck. And I'm a bit ashamed to say that I did kind of push him to selling, simply because with that one card, he could get like 10 new
New
booster packs,
ones.
and he could
Yeah.
get even better cards. We didn't get any better cards, but he could have got, but we got a lot of good cards. And I think that he just kind of, he understood now that there's also like value in taking really good care of the card. So now he used his savings, and he bought some binders where he can put those cards. And so anyway, that
That's
was
so
just
cool.
such an amazing thing to happen, because I always thought that it makes no sense to sell those cards, because the 99.9% of them are valueless. And if you and only you can only get like in Charles and the Chocolate Factory, you don't get the golden ticket from the first chocolate bar you buy. You have to buy like a million of them. That was
That's
an
so
obscure Roald
cool.
Dahl reference, but anyway, so that was Amsterdam last week, and the conference was really really nice as well. It was such a nice venue, and the Amsterdam crowd is just so.
They're fun
It
people.
seems like everything in Europe is right now happening in Amsterdam in our industry. All the events, everything is just in Amsterdam, which is fun
I
because
had
it's
some
it's a really nice
FOMO.
city.
I had some
Yeah,
FOMO. I saw the selfie with you and Charles, and I really love Charles. Like he's so cool,
yeah,
and
he's okay. Yeah,
yeah,
he's
he's.
yeah,
I
yeah,
actually saw we did a video 1 year ago about GA4,
yeah,
and that's like the best performing video on my channel. And I tweeted at him. I said, Charles, we need to do like the aftermath, like what happened since last year and this year in
yeah.
GA4. Now he's a very nice guy and gave me good feedback. I actually wrote an article, Simo, about how to audit a GTAG
Oh yeah,
configuration for GA4. I need to self to
yeah.
promote
That's
it a bit
good
in the
for
podcast.
sure.
I forgot about it.
Yeah.
And which you can find in the footnotes of this. I After we talked last time with Tina, I felt motivated to
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 write some
to
technical writing.
to do some technical
Yeah.
writing. And I remember I got some feedback from somebody that says that I didn't put screenshots like Simo. I was like, thank you. It's like I'm not. It's like I'm not Simo. I have a total
And
different
hey,
writing.
as we learned from Tina, screenshots are risky because they incur debt.
And you
But why
have
would you
to.
scrap tag? Like it's
Yeah,
just
like
code.
there's
Why would you
nothing to
screenshot that?
screenshot,
No.
and I actually linked to the great documentation that they have
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
So the article did good. Very
That's good.
happy with the feedback, and Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to write more. I actually started
Yeah, that's
looking at
good.
those free courses for technical writing. So let's see, because I have one coming with cross domain and with G
All
type,
good.
which is a shit show,
Yeah,
just like in GA. So
yeah,
let's see if I'm able to keep myself accountable for more writing. But yeah, you were telling me about the
yeah,
CSS selector course.
yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's doing fine. I am supposed to release it tomorrow, which is a bit
Oh,
nerve wracking because I still have to like go over some of the stuff. But yeah, it's supposed to come out tomorrow. Um, this is not a promise, so don't come chasing after me if it's not out on the 25th of April. We're doing our best, but it might get pushed back one day or two. I'm not. I'm really almost 90% sure we'll get it out today. Um, and then when that's done, I'm first of all, I'm really happy with the course. It's exactly what it's supposed to be. So it doesn't trail off. It doesn't go to weird places. It's just about CSS selectors. So it's also going to be cheaper than our other courses. It's a bit shorter than our other courses. The kind of point is kind of to take it with the JavaScript course, but we're not forcing you down that path.
yeah.
Um, and
So
yeah, so
it
that's
makes
been a lot of
sense to
fun.
take it with that one.
Yeah, but this is so life is turning really difficult in this sense because while I was in Amsterdam, I never again back to Amsterdam. I never sleep in hotels. I when I'm traveling alone, I just I'm not a good sleeper, so I always kind of just stay up and maybe play some Switch or do some work. And so then at like 1 a.m. I get an email that I've been allow listed for a certain server side tagging feature that is coming up hopefully in a couple of weeks, and so which I've been waiting for 2 years or something.
Interesting.
So then I start writing that article, and now things are very difficult because I need to focus on the course, but I'm really
Yeah.
distracted by this amazing feature that's coming up. And then we have our website redesign going on. Then I have to write. Then I'm finishing up a an article on the Simmer blog about post message stuff, and then yeah, it's just uh, the whole problem with this course, the CSS selectors course, was that I did not carve away time to work on it, as I
Yeah.
mentioned probably in the last podcast. And now I'm back in that place that it's the problem isn't carving away time. I'm good at that now, but the problem is focusing on only the one thing that I have to get out of the way. So that's very difficult. And now I
And
just have to
this
kind of, as soon as this interview is over, I'm gonna stick my
and stay
head
off
into a
Slack.
bag and just I'm gonna close the shutters, turn off the lights, just make everything as unpleasant as possible, and just force myself to go through this.
I
Stay of
know,
Slack.
but so much exciting stuff going on, and I feel you.
Yeah,
I'm in the same headspace, and like,
yeah.
and my mother-in-law was saying to my husband the other day, like, I don't know how Juliana has time to do the podcast, the content,
Yeah,
blogs, like the job. I was like, I don't know either. It's just that
yeah.
it's so many exciting things happening at the same time, so it's very hard to just like put your eggs in one basket. So I get it, but I hope by the time we have I hope our anniversary episode, because this is filmed technically after the anniversary episode, because it's Standard Deviation Podcast is turning 1 year
Woo!
on the 1st of May. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
it is, and I'm really, I was in my feelings yesterday on LinkedIn, and I'm actually really happy that we're doing this together. I feel like, and I said this a couple of times, and I have no shame of saying it. We are more fun maybe than other podcasts that are in digital analytics. We are more
At least we
fun.
think we are more fun. That's
No,
important.
exactly. Nobody said otherwise. But yeah, there you go. We're doing our thing. But see, because you told me that I had kinky funk songs last time in the podcast, I changed that, and I have something new for you today, so you can do your simmer. So
It's like it's like a 70s crime show again. You have a lot of like 70s vibes, I think. Like in a good
I'm
way.
old. I
No, no,
have like a
it's like
bunch
a
of
yeah,
stuff.
and it's
Yeah,
my one of my favorite decades in music, but it's very distinct. It
yeah. All
tells I
my
think it tells
sounds
more
are
about
there.
you than about me about my Simrats, but yeah. That's pretty cool.
When I gave you the elevator type of music, you said, "Oh my god, this is my music from the JavaScript course." You didn't like it, so this is what you get, right?
Yeah, we're still looking for the perfect tune. It's going in good directions. Yeah,
You
we're
have to
still
do
looking
it
for it.
yourself.
I know. I might have to. Yeah. So yes, Simmer, thank you. Simmer advertising our lovely little business. Simmer is a company I founded with my wife Mari, and she is the CEO and the head hooch of this biz. And we do online courses in technical marketing. We are also very proud sponsors of this podcast. And take a look at teamsimmer.com. We have a bunch of courses for technical marketers around JavaScript, server-side tagging, BigQuery, web browsers, and soon also CSS selectors. And you can use the coupon code DEVIATE, that's DEVIATE, for a 10% discount, but only for individual course purchases. Somebody tried to buy a bundle or bought a bundle from us and wrote in the order notes, I am using the discount code DEVIATE. That's not how coupon codes work, so I'm sorry that you did not get an additional discount. So it's only for individual courses. The bundles are already quite heavily discounted, so you don't benefit at all from that. But anyway, even without the discounts, I think we have good quality courses, so take a look at those. And yeah, that's about it. We're happy to be sponsors of this amazing venture with two very charming hosts.
Yes, thank you for that. And
Yes.
I do write individual course purchases in all the footnotes and on the videos.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Like the website isn't like the checkout funnel is messed up. So I'm happy that we're doing the site redesign. It's a complicated checkout and doesn't help that there's yeah. Anyway, so it's not the person's fault for trying the code. I know that it doesn't make it very clear what is an individual course, but hopefully this clears it up a bit.
Cool. So you will find the links for teamseymour.com in the episode notes and the discount code if you didn't catch it. And by the time this will air, you would probably ideally have the CSS selector course out.
Yes.
This is probably going to be somewhere at the end of May.
Okay.
So yeah, you should be.
I should have it by then. If not, things have gone so awry.
Cool. So today, Simo, we have a guest.
Yes.
For the sake of everyone listening, it's not just us. We have Karolina, and I got the chance actually to meet her at Super Week this year, and she works at Google, and this is our second Google employee. I promise
We need to branch out.
We need to branch out to other companies. But when I was at Super Week, I had an interesting. We were at dinner with her, with Krista, with Siobhan, and we're talking about our careers and moving on and doing what we're doing. And she mentioned something about ambition management, which is something I had to Google for the sake of the podcast because I didn't know what it meant. And today we are having her over so she can tell us more about how she navigated from individual contributor to manager to back to individual contributor. And also she is in a PPC. So this is our first PPC ads guest. So I'm very excited to talk to her today.
Someone from the dark side.
Exactly, especially after what happened last night with Meta. I actually posted it on Measure Slack, like it was insane. So we have Karolina, and I think she's anxiously waiting to be let in the lobby. So let's let her in.
Was that good? That was very enthusiastic.
Amazing. Thank you.
Hello, Karolina. We have Karolina Wrzask in the building. How are you doing today?
Very well. Thank you. I'm very well. It's a spring day, finally. So I'm happy. How are you?
We're very excited to talk to you today because we want to know everything. I'm kidding.
We'll start from day one.
How
was your birth?
Quick. I hope.
No, let's not open that can of worms. So the sun is shining. Is that like a natural light on your face, or is it a ring light?
I won't tell you.
Okay. Nice.
It's sun coming from the right and the lamp from the front. Because otherwise I would really look,
It would be dramatic.
Dramatic.
Yeah.
This is a very Eastern episode today. We have Poland, we have Finland, we have Romania.
Hold on. Did you just group us together with Eastern Europe? That is a very political thing to say, by the way.
What? I'm proud to be Eastern European.
No, I didn't mean it as a negative, but it's a very political thing to say in Finland because we've always been kind of skirting between the two, like in the neutral middle ground. That's why the NATO thing was such a big deal.
Everyone is trying to escape Eastern Europe. So like now Serbia is saying, "Oh, Eastern Europe." no, we're West Balkans. Poland
Well, I
is
mean,
like
Yeah, it's central.
we're
Actually, I
Central
think.
Europe.
Yeah. Poland, I think it's considered central.
well, you're
So
Central
if
European time, right?
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I
So
think.
I think if you're on the left side of Wisła, you're like western or central. If
Yeah,
you're on the right side of Wisła,
yeah,
you're eastern.
yeah.
I
But
don't
I mean,
know.
well,
I'm guessing.
yeah, but I definitely didn't mean it as something that's negative, because it would be if Finnish people weren't, like, if we were ashamed of our Eastern roots, for example, we would kind of turn our whole national identity upside down. So of course not. But it is an interesting thing to. Is that, I have to pursue this. Is that how we're kind of perceived in Romania, for example? Do you perceive Finland as an Eastern European country?
Yeah,
Okay.
you,
I'm not
Estonia.
in the team of considering in
Yeah.
Finland as an eastern country. No.
Yeah, I think, like, geographically we are on the eastern border
Baltic.
of Europe for sure, and we're in the Eastern European time zone. But yeah, because we, like, for sure we consider ourselves more as part of a Western
Not
frame
in
of thought.
Romania. We know the truth.
I know, you sneaky Romanians.
We know it. Nah,
Yeah, you get you know, you can spot an Eastern European so far away.
immediately. Yeah, immediately. We're very similar. Cool.
Okay, we're derailing really bad.
Derailing as fuck. So, Carolina, I remember that we were chatting at dinner at Super Week. It was you, me, Shivan, with Krista. We had such a great conversation then, and about our lives, about um, our careers and so on. And I was very interested to have you in the podcast today to talk to you more and just like have people, I guess, glimpse a bit into your journey, because I know you went from individual contributor to a management position, but then again in the individual contributor type of role, and now you're working as a solution architect for the Google marketing platform at Google, right? So on the advertising part. But I want you to tell us a bit, like, before, because we have a lot of obviously newcomers in the industry that listen to the podcast that probably they think, like, they would want to work for Google. So we'd love to know more about the culture and the hiring and how did you get there. But before that, tell us, how did you get into digital analytics? How was that journey from just starting out and getting into this role?
That's an amazing question. And I was thinking, how can I squeeze into my reply the significance and the role of my brother? So he
Mm.
was the he was the one who once asked me a question. Hey, you could actually manage the sponsored links. Like, what the hell? What are sponsored links? Like, I didn't even know. I wasn't aware that someone is actually managing the results in Google search. So he was the one who asked me if I want to do this, and then just shared some resources. And at the time, so I studied maths, and then I thought that finance is the direction I should go to. So I even worked in finance for a year, and I realized that's absolutely opposite. So that's something I really want to avoid, besides the money, obviously. So I started preparing myself for the marketing, and it was really quite a long time ago. And there were not that many like agencies and opportunities at the time. It was 2009. There was just one agency in my city, and I applied there, just even like for free. I can do anything for you. Just let me in and let me learn. And I applied for some other roles as well in other businesses, including finance, I guess, because I really needed to earn money. So the agency was the only one who replied to my application, and they actually offered me money for my work. So it was a very happy moment for me. And I stayed there for like 11 years, so it was a good choice. So that was the start. But I changed my position, so my roles at the agency. I started as a PPC manager, and then I moved to analytics because I was really curious to know what's going on with the people that click on the links, and then they just don't vanish mysteriously. They do something on the page. And at the time, specialists who managed campaigns, they focused mainly on the stats that were in Google AdWords at the time, and it was, I think it was a general practice that people Google Analytics wasn't that popular. So if you had any curious in this direction, you could easily migrate to analytics.
Yeah.
So that's how I landed in measurement.
Wow. Was it ever like, what was the most difficult transition? Was it starting off in marketing, or was it one of those career moves while you were in marketing? What made you think about it the most? What was the biggest friction?
So starting in marketing wasn't that difficult, maybe because of the context and time when I started. I'm honestly, I'm not sure if it's now easier or harder to start in marketing. Because I also hired people to my team several years ago, and but still I can't tell if it's harder or easier. I guess there are more resources now to learn, loads of it. For me at the time, it wasn't that hard. So I started at the agency, and then it went smoothly, naturally grew. I think the biggest transition and the hardest wasn't between PPC and analytics. It was between individual contributor and manager's role. And it didn't require any hard skills; it required soft skills. So and the shift in the approach. And if you like your work as a practitioner, it's even harder to migrate to manager's role because you fear that you'll be missing out on the new stuff and technical stuff. You will lose the skills. It depends on a personality. If you build your confidence based on technical skills, you might think that you're losing something when you're growing into manager's role.
Do you think was that true for you? Like for me, that prototypical shift to management means that you still love all the things you used to do. Like if you love them, like you don't lose that, but just the amount of overhead and the amount of like management stuff, administrative stuff, it just reduces the energy capacity you have for actually pursuing those things. Did that happen to you? Because I know that there are managers who still have very much their hands dirty and their management style is very hands-on. But there is a momentum against that style in most organizations where management is expected to more be like, a middle person between maybe the strategic parts and the operational parts, and they lose touch with the
Absolutely.
day-to-day.
I think so. During my time at the agency, it wasn't that moment yet, but I know it happened later that the managers were moved away from the projects. During my time, I still had the chance to manage the biggest projects and get my hands dirty, just like you said. But it wasn't enough. I had the feeling that I'm not a good enough manager, and I'm not growing my technical skills.
Yeah.
So I was doing everything in mediocre way. That was my personal feeling. I don't have any management studies, so I don't have this managerial background and education, and I felt that I won't be able to compete with other people that are born and educated managers. So if you can be really good at something, maybe you should consider something different. It's worth trying because I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's a very significant part of my career. I think even this later parts. But that's something that I intentionally and consciously moved away from. But still relying on the skills they learned at that moment. And I think so. Yeah, maybe I will stop there.
That's a really interesting
it's
point.
relatable. Remember, we had this convo a few episodes back, Simo, when we were talking about the fact that even if you're very talented in what you do, that doesn't automatically make you a good manager. It's just that's how some roles are being promoted inside
it's
agencies.
Very often.
Yeah,
It's where
because you're
if the ladder is, if there are not separate ladders for technical skills and management skills, the only way to get promoted, to grow in the organization, is to go into the manager's role.
Yeah.
which makes you a transition shift from amazing practitioner to a really shitty manager.
Yeah, that's the worst.
And I think because I had a pretty small team, like up to 7 people, and I always got a very positive feedback from the team. So I really had very straightforward relationship with my team, like partnership. It wasn't the same case with other managers and the leadership of the organization. I think their expectations towards my role and myself were a little bit different, I guess.
So do you think that this could be solved by not having managers at all? Like having a manager-less company, because those exist and they are like self-organizing, and they might be, of course, it requires the company to be a bit small, or at least have smaller business units. But if you only hire like super talent and make sure that nobody gets, elevated to managerial position and everybody just enjoys being the expert, do you think that would help?
No, I don't think. I'm not convinced about that. So I'm convinced about me not being ready. Maybe I'm not saying that somewhere in future I won't be doing the manager's role again, but for sure, for now, I'm absolutely not ready for that, and I don't want it. But I really enjoy working with my manager. I really love the fact that he's there, and he's absolutely aware of what we're working on, what we're doing. He knows the
That's
stuff,
really good.
he knows the projects. So, but he's not doing that himself. So, but he knows what's going on in our everyday work. But he has different job to do. But he's a people's manager. If you distinguish these parts, that you have a people's manager, you have like product managers, program managers, whatever you call it, like people who manage something. Because you can manage different things, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily people if you're not feeling very comfortable managing people. But I like the fact that he's managing our team and he's the middleman between us and the organization. It's probably depending on who you meet and who you work with. Your experience can be different, but I really love the fact that he's there and he's a manager. And I'm not sure if he's gonna be listening to this podcast.
Hello.
Hi.
We cut out all the parts where Karolina just badmouthed you. Don't worry, we cut them out. No.
Yeah, I love my manager. No, just kidding. But so I still feel they are needed, because there should be someone in the organization that really thinks about other people and if they're happy. So my conclusion after me in the role of manager is that I really don't want to take care of or worry about people's happiness anymore, because it's so exhausting.
That's fair.
It consumes my energy, my time. I can't sleep because I think like, what if they leave, or if they are happy, they have too little like money or probably like no.
It's stressful.
I love this. You're so honest. I love this.
If a manager is really good and they're really like an enabler and facilitator, and their job is to remove roadblocks, then it's amazing. The reason I'm kind of anti-management, and I've always been, is also because I've seen some of the smartest and most hardworking people I know being completely demoralized in a company just because they had a bad manager. And that's so unfair. Like it makes no sense that you have these people who the company should fight tooth and claw to keep within their ranks and happy, and they still allow a bad manager to kind of destroy their morale and have them looking for other jobs. I think at that point, the trickle-down effect of bad management, considering that it could impact just a couple of people, it could impact dozens, it could impact hundreds of people if you have like a super bad VP, for example. It sounds like so dangerous. And with a big company like Google, but like any other company that has thousands of employees and thousands of business units, the risk is there that there's a manager hired who looks great to the people who make the decisions, but who's an absolute terror to the people who report to them. So it's just, I don't know. It's very interesting to hear you say these things, because this idea that managers take care of people is absolutely true, and I think that's the best possible type of a manager, is who takes care of people. But sometimes they say they can take care of people, but they only look after themselves, and at that point it becomes a very toxic relationship.
Yeah, the saying, and probably everyone heard of that people join the company but they leave the managers.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true, and that's a terrible indictment of bad management.
Yep.
But a very, very fair one, of course. Yeah.
So where does ambition management, now that we're talking about management, where does ambition management fill in? I think also I would like
What does
for
it
you.
mean?
Yeah, what does it mean? Yeah, because I had to Google it. I know what it means now. But
I just made it up. I was wondering
Wow.
at which point you will ask me what did I mean about when saying ambition management. I think what I meant was my internal struggle throughout my whole career. So I mentioned my brother who pushed me in this direction. He was also in the same field. He's doing other stuff now, like similar. But I was always looking up to him. But I can literally I never thought that I can grow in the same way that he did. And I think so my struggle was, and I was always aware of the enormous amount of stuff that I don't know or I won't be able to absorb, learn. And so one part was when I was deciding about whether to become a manager or to stay a practitioner and individual contributor. So at that time you feel like, okay, so I'm growing, so I need to become a manager, and then I'm losing the technical skills. So what if I'm expected or I'm forced to change the organization or the company or the role, or I will stop being the manager in the company. What are my virtues and what are my skills that will get me another job that is nice enough for me, also money wise. So that was the first struggle. Like, should I grow as a manager? I don't have the background, I don't have the education in this direction. So if I lose my skills, who am I then? Then in my practitioner role, it's a different type of struggle because I do measurement stuff, so I do the tagging, analytics, and stuff, but I don't do data analysis, data science. I don't code. However, I know some parts, like enough for web analytics, but I always knew there's so much more there. I was always looking up to people who were really capable of writing code, custom scripts. Like, I will just say I quickly integrated two tools and automated the work. And I was like, oh shit, I can only like configure tags in GTM. That's what's my value there. And I tried doing that. So I spent time learning to code. I really, during pandemic, when I started when I moved from agency to onto the client side as a web analyst, I was the only analyst at the time at the company, and I had all these ideas from the agency, like ideas what's worth doing. So I even tried doing some data-driven attribution, like custom projects. It's open source, right? You can take the codes from GitHub and apply in your environment and do some analysis there. So I was playing the data science, which was so horrible. It brought me absolutely no satisfaction. I knew that I was terrible at that. So I think that the ambition management at this moment is to tell to yourself, first, what are you being paid for? And second, what are you good at? Continue doing that, because if you were accepted to the role, if you're promoted or if you're appreciated for doing something, just continue doing that. You can try to get from the conversation with people, from the context, try to feel if more skills in certain directions are beneficial for you, will help you grow in your role. But your ambition, so your will to learn to code, might not necessarily support your growth, support your role, support your career, because it's something that you internally feel that it makes you a better specialist, but it doesn't, because it takes your time from the core part of your work. And what I've been good at was to still do my measurement and tagging part and talk to the business. That's where I'm good at. I'm not good at managing people, but I'm good at talking to people, to business people, because I have this straightforward communication skill that is not the best one for when you're a manager. They don't appreciate you for that. but when you do analytics, when you do measurement, and you're very direct in communication and you're very open, you like being in spotlight. You bring the measurement topics to business people, and that's where value is. And
It's a huge skill.
So if I started to write in R or Python or scripting, whatever, that's so sexy, that's so exciting. Where's the benefit?
It is.
Yeah, okay. I know. So I totally appreciate people doing that and building their career and their business based on that, like doing this, but so I can use that. I don't necessarily need to do it myself, because it's like, it's similar, I think, with the manager's role. I'm just not born to be a manager, people's manager, and I'm just not born to be a programmer. So let's stop.
I think this is a very mature approach, Karolina, because this is a very interesting topic, by the way. I never thought of it like this, but if you're in our field, and especially if you're doing content, because this is what I associated with, my own ambitions and everyone's ambitions, it's like very easy to want to do everything, to want to write about Google Tag Manager, about G4, like you want to be first, you want to have the best stuff, but it's very hard to keep up, because there's so many people that are already doing it and they're doing it better than you. And that doesn't mean you suck, it means that there's people that actually have more experience in doing that. So it's hard also to admit to yourself, like for instance, in my case, I've been avoiding to do CRO officially with a job in experimentation, just because I know I can do it, but I didn't want to be put in that bucket. Unfortunately, now I will be put in that bucket. But it's hard, because I wanted also to learn JavaScript, and I did a bit, thankfully, with the CWO's help. But it's a lot of things that you want to do, but at the same time, I like how you frame it. Like, is this your core strengths, your core value? Is this what you're being paid for? And if you do so many things, it gets you distracted from what you're really good at and where you can bring value.
I think one piece that you should not forget is where you get your energy from, when you get your satisfaction from. Because if you suck a little bit at doing something, but you're still happy about doing it, just continue doing that.
Yeah,
it's absolutely fine. You should do that. But it just wasn't my case. I just felt it's needed. It should help me do my stuff better, and it's true to a certain level. But when I spent several days working on some script that really didn't help me impact the business in any way or progress my projects in any way, I realized that it's not helping either me or the business that I'm working for. So I focused on people and their expectations toward data and reports and like any analysis that I could get for them. But yeah, if you're happy doing something, even it's just for yourself or a small piece of your work, just continue doing that. It's not like, oh, if you're not being paid for that, just abandon. No. Just want to be clear about that.
How do you handle that and balance that in an organization like Google? Because it's a line, like ambition management is also about your individual growth, but also about the organizational growth and needs. Like, how do you balance that at Google?
So Google is all about growth. So if you're staying in your role and doing the same stuff for a long time, like several years, it's definitely something. It's not something that is expected and welcome. But there's so many opportunities to grow. So in my current role, even though I'm just just a technical consultant. So I could be doing my product related consultations. I can do so much more if I build or strengthen the collaboration with the sales team, with product teams. I can go more into clients relations management, contribute there more with the products, and the sales team and clients. They always welcome people who can talk about products in a understandable way and easy way. And if I'm doing by doing that, if I'm selling something or progressing the project or influencing the client to go for something, to invest in some solutions, it's the sales team are happy, and my manager is happy. The visibility to the teams is higher. So there are different ways you can grow, and you can also build your skills beyond the core work in the organization of this size. It's obvious. So it's not like you're expected to stay in your track only. You can do more. That's for sure. So it's only been 2 years now, so I can't tell yet. Because I'm not planning to change my team just yet. So I can't tell if it's difficult or not to shift. I know many people who did that, who changed teams, changed offices, or changed countries. They did it. There's still process for that, so you need to apply for the role. It's not like, oh, I want to change the team and the role. So yeah, naturally, like automatically you're there. No, there's still an application process and assessment, skills assessment. So I'm not there yet. I don't know if I will be there at some point. I'm happy where I am, but as I said, I can grow different parts of my personal, professional life in my role with the support of my manager. So I haven't faced any true. I haven't hit the wall yet.
Yeah. So I kind of feel like that a company. So when a company hires someone, the company comes up with a job description and a job title, and they have a checklist of things that the applicant needs to pass. And then they do an interview process. And for the interview process to be fair, they need to offer the same kind of job description to all the applicants. So it feels to me like it's what follows logically is that whoever you hire, if you don't support their personal growth in a role, you're just going to hire them purely for, sucking their efficiency and nothing else. But if you as a company, if you allow them to take the role that was offered to them and then either shape that to look like them, so allow them to kind of freely bring in their own ambitions and their own expertise into the role, or give them the tools to rotate to other things and to grow themselves into different roles. I think that's where the magical part is. And it still feels to me like so many companies still kind of try to keep people in the place they hired them originally for. And then you see how these people wither because they feel like I am shaping myself to work as well as I can in the role that this company offered to me. But how can this company know what I'm actually good at? I'm an individual person. They came up with this checklist. I might check all the boxes, but I'm so much better in these different things. So for me, it's always been very clear that if you have a company with managers, I get back to what a good manager is. The manager should also be able to spot these idiosyncrasies in the employees and give them the tools and the time and the resources to kind of look at and grow themselves in other areas, even if, and I think this is for me the clincher between a good company and one that doesn't interest me at all, even if that growth doesn't necessarily support the bottom line of the company they've been hired for. Because I'm not saying they should be allowed to go surfing right after the midday meeting or something, but
actually the Australian teams, they do that. I heard
Australia,
that.
Yes, Australia is yeah, for sure. But yeah, I really think that if it makes me a better employee to be also allowed to spend like 10% of my time learning to draw learn to do 3D diagrams, learn to do prompt engineering, stuff that's not relevant to my role. I think it will make me a better employee, period. So it would just seem like for any managers out there, this is like it seems to me, again, like so self-evident, but maybe I'm so detached from what management is like these days because I
No,
haven't been managed in so long.
you're absolutely true. What you're saying is true. And I remember, so at the time, during my time at the agency, we used to do that. Like, we used to keep people in their roles, and we didn't really allow people to shift between the teams until sometime when we realized that it's impossible. People will just leave if you don't let them change the team. So
Yeah,
I had people from my team going to SEO
yeah,
team, or
precisely.
to ads, to performance team, and they're happy there, because once
Yeah,
you when you join the company, you don't necessarily know, or you don't often know what other services they provide, what other teams are there.
yeah,
And when you join the company, you might realize that there are actually better places for you. And
yeah,
now hiring great people is so expensive and so time consuming. Is it really better to these people just shift to change the teams?
yeah.
And
That's true.
referring to hiring people, that's how the process is built at Google. It's not. I think that currently it's not only Google's thing. I think other companies also, they follow this or similar path. Like, you assess different attributes, and obviously, if you're hiring for a measurement role, you expect people to have some knowledge in that area, or at least to have similar knowledge, or something that tells you that it will be easy for them to absorb new skills and new knowledge. But then you assess other fields, other
Yeah,
areas, like collaboration. Like, there's something called googliness. So how supportive you are, how inclusive you are. So all the other attributes that make you a great teammate and employer, in addition to your technical part, because really having the technical skills, it's not enough to have a great member of the team.
On that point, because we're about to wrap up soon, I wanted to ask, like, what are some things that you've seen newcomers, like, what are some misconceptions or pitfalls that you see newcomers encounter, and like, do you have any strategies or resources you can recommend to people to avoid, making these mistakes when starting out?
Uh, well, now, so since we're going to wrap up, I need to squeeze all my thoughts
That's fine.
into few sentences. I was doing this sort of analysis of like thinking about this stuff like yesterday, and I realized that what I would do more is I put everything, all my conclusions, into one word, that is ask, and in different contexts. You can ask why multiple times, like why you should do something, why something is happening that way or this way, why this works that way, because then this helps you to get to the core of the whatever it is, a problem, a situation, a context. So ask why, ask what, or how you should deliver your work, how someone expects you to present the report, or present the analysis, or present yourself. So ask how, ask why, ask for help, but do your preparation first. So do your research, put some effort into investigate the problem. So put some effort, but then you should really ask others for opinion, for support, for help. Because my personal experience was that I was really I really had a low confidence in what I'm doing, and I still often do have this. So I need to cross the lines, maybe not cross the lines, but go outside the comfort zone. I know I hate this phrase because I really enjoy my comfort zone. I like being there. But it shows that your comfort zone can grow. So if you approach the people at Super Week, okay, that's still ahead. But if you ask someone if you can actually present at Super Week, if you ask your colleagues who share the open role at Google if you're a good fit, they can tell you, yes, you're a perfect fit. I will just refer you and you can go apply. So ask for the opportunity. And it's all about asking, because then you might realize that your comfort zone grows. You're actually very happy having this new contacts and new new like ways of presenting yourself or working or doing whatever you like, because that's just go forward. And I'm actually talking about this specifically because I also see I really need to mention that when I had the team of analysts, it was 50-50 men and women. When I left, I know that the team is all men right now. And I'm not saying it's wrong, because maybe they were just not there were no candidates, like female candidates. But why there are so little women at Super Week and in the community? Why they speak up so little, like really rarely? And I feel that it's because because I know so many girls in measurement, in analytics, but they either don't care, and that's fine, they don't want to do this, or they feel they are not good enough, or it takes too much effort and too much energy to speak up, to ask for the opportunity to go on stage, and whatever it is. I'd love to see more women being active in the community. I feel that there's a huge support, but we can't expect men in the community to very strongly and proactively search for women that should go on stage. I mean, it's happening. Like I know that. Remember, I talked to Jeff at the Super Week. He mentioned that. And every man that I know in the industry is very supportive for to women in the industry. But girls really need to ask for the opportunity. So I'd love to see girls going more forward, like go, more speak up and ask for.
It's also the side of it that even if you ask, and this is my experience, it also might be that you have, like not the perfect setup to go and speak at some events. And this is something that, I have to deal with as well. Like, for instance, if you don't have already a big name, or if you don't have already like very, big talks in your repository, or if you're working for a place that it's not necessarily something that you want to see in the lineup, like there's a lot of factors that affect. And I think if you're a woman and you're trying to go and speak at these events and you're being said no constantly from big events, it makes you like, maybe I'm not good enough, and it really affects.
Yeah, I remember that you mentioned it. I think it was like LinkedIn posts, but you mentioned that somewhere, and I read it and I thought, yeah, you're right. But I've never done this. So when you apply or you submit your yourself to like a conference as a speaker, you're not. It's less personal, so it's easy to reject you. But when you you might not agree. That's my feeling. So
Yeah.
So my other feeling about my career is that I've never pushed anything very much. I just did my work and just used the opportunity if I had a chance to talk to someone. However, I haven't talked to Simo, even though I had the opportunity. Again, still ahead. But I did talk to some people. I attended Super Week. Super Week is just like it's an amazing place to talk to people from the industry who will support you, who will help you do. If you want to present, they will help you present. If you want to do a project, they will help you do a project. They're very supportive. So if you try to naturally use the opportunity that you have, but without this push and struggle, maybe it works differently for different people. I don't know. My experience is that if I just keep it like, maybe do my work the best I can, use the opportunities, but without this struggle and this push to achieve specific thing in this specific moment, you don't have this frustration. Oh, I failed again. No, I just grew to the moment where the opportunity was just good enough for me, and I was good enough for the opportunity, and I just used it. So you take your time. I'm really when I talk to other people, when I go, fortunately the measurement community at the Super Week as well, we can meet many people from the community at the Super Week. You can see that the average age is not that low, but at Google, I'm very often the oldest one in the room. So it just takes time. It takes time, and but it's still okay. So you don't have to rush with the career. That's my feeling. Like, some things just come naturally when you do your stuff, but you ask, you talk to people, and sometimes you try to grow your comfort zone.
Yeah, I like that with growing your comfort zone, because it's exactly as much as you can, you can do it. It can be comfortable. Thank you so much, Karolina. I really enjoyed having you today. Where
Thank you.
can people connect with you and find you?
LinkedIn. Absolutely.
Cool.
Happy to connect. And thank you so much. It's been so great to be your guest.
Likewise.
It was lovely to have you.
Thank you so much, and looking forward to our meeting somewhere.
Next Super Week?
Next Super Week, yeah.
Juliana, Bucharest, maybe.
Oh, yes, you said you're coming to Bucharest. Yes, let's go.
Fingers crossed.
Let's have... Yes, I can wait. And thank you so much again for coming. You can find a bunch of links in the footnotes. Simo, do you want any last words? I feel like you want to...
If you're ever in this lovely Eastern European country of Finland, just give me a note, Simo. And we'll go out for a coffee.